Hello, Army. Welcome to K Heart Channel. Jungkook reveals the real struggles Taehyung has been hiding from BTS fans. No one truly knows what hides behind Taehyung's smile, and no one knows how much effort he puts into making others feel safe and comfortable, and no one realizes that behind his bright laughter, there are things he has locked away deep inside, except for one person, Jungkook. And on that day, without planning, without media, without scripts, Jungkook finally revealed a truth that made millions of armies fall silent. It began in a quiet practice room, not on stage, not during a live broadcast, not in an interview, just a simple room with dim lights and a wide mirror reflecting two silhouettes, two boys who had grown up together while the world spun too fast around them. Jungkook looked at Taehyung not just as a member, not just as a friend, but as someone who taught him what resilience really looks like. "Hyung," Jungkook said softly, voice low and trembling. "There's something I want people to know, but I don't know if I should say it." Taehyung didn't answer right away. He just stared at the mirror, his eyes quiet, but not empty. Eyes holding stories he never said out loud. "If it's about me," he finally murmured, "I know you won't say it carelessly." Jungkook lowered his gaze. Taehyung never wanted pity. He never wanted people to worry. He always wanted to look strong, even when he was breaking, and that was the problem. The journey cameras never captured when BTS first began, before fame, before awards, before the world called their names. Taehyung was the one who tried to keep the mood warm. He laughed the loudest. He joked the most. He brought light wherever he walked. But what no one saw was that after the laughter ended, sometimes he sat alone in the dark, quiet, unmoving, as though holding his heart together with both hands, and no one knew he sometimes couldn't sleep, and no one knew he sometimes questioned his own worth, and no one, except Jungkook, the kid who shared a room with him. Back then, Jungkook whispered, eyes glistening, "I used to wake up and see Taehyung just staring at the ceiling, not crying,
Not sighing.
just quiet. I was too young to understand what that meant." He swallowed hard. "I thought he was just tired. I didn't know he was carrying so much alone." Taehyung gave a small, tired smile, not to deny, but to soothe. "Everyone has heavy days. I just didn't want to add to anyone's load." But Jungkook shook his head. "You didn't burden anyone, Hyung. You just didn't give anyone the chance to be there for you." The words landed softly, but deep. The sun everyone forgot could burn out people call Taehyung. Sunshine, the warm one, the bright one, but sometimes even the sun gets tired. Not because it doesn't want to shine, but because it's been shining for everyone else for too long. A lot of people think Taehyung is happy all the time. Jungkook said, voice thick, but he carries so much quietly. And he never lets anyone see it. That is real strength. Taehyung closed his eyes, not to hide tears, but to finally let himself feel. "I didn't want anyone to lose their light because of me," he whispered. "So I pretended I didn't have shadows." And for the first time, silence said more than any words could. The air outside felt cold, sharper than usual. Taehyung walked slowly toward the small back exit of the building, his hands in the pockets of his oversized coat. The city lights glittered softly, almost like they were watching him, understanding him. He didn't cry, but there was a heaviness in the silence around him. Behind him, footsteps followed, gentle, cautious, respectful. Jungkook didn't call his name immediately. He simply walked until he was close enough to stand beside Taehyung, their shoulders just almost touching. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The night was their witness. Finally, Jungkook took a careful breath. "Hyung." Taehyung tilted his head slightly, eyes still fixed on the streets ahead. There was no anger.
No frustración.
Just exhaustion. The kind that had no words. Jungkook swallowed. "You don't have to carry everything alone." Taehyung let out a small, almost bitter chuckle, not mocking, just tired. "I know," he replied softly. "But some things just don't feel like they have a place to be shared." Jungkook shook his head gently. "Then make a place. Even if it's only for one person. Even if it's only me." Those words hung in the air like the last note of a song that wasn't supposed to end. Taehyung finally turned his head slightly, not fully, just enough to see Jungkook through the corner of his eye. "You've grown a lot, Jungkook." Jungkook smiled, not confidently, not proudly, but tenderly, like someone who understood the weight of the moment. "Because I learned from you." There it was, truth simple, unpolished.
Real.
There are things the world sees, the stages, the lights, the polished laughter. And then there are things only they know. The quiet shoulders leaned on backstage, the late-night messages asking, "Are you okay?" The silent understanding when words fail. Taehyung didn't answer right away. He looked at his hands, the same hands that had held microphones, fan signs, families, memories. The same hands that sometimes trembled in moments no one saw. "Sometimes I feel like if I show the weak parts, I'll break everything I've tried to protect." His voice was soft, fragile, honest. Jungkook shook his head. "Hyung, your strength isn't what you hide. Your strength is what you feel." Taehyung closed his eyes for a moment. The city noise faded. The world slowed. There was just the two of them. The heart that fans never see. To the fans, Taehyung is warm, comforting, beautiful, a light that never flickers. But even lights get tired. Even stars need darkness to shine. This moment, standing quietly under the night sky, breathing the same cold air, wasn't dramatic or loud or explosive. It was real, the kind of moment that stays in the heart. Jungkook did not try to fix him. He did not try to force him to speak. He simply stood there, with him, for him, and sometimes that is all love ever needs to be, a promise without words. After a long silence, Taehyung finally whispered, "Thank you." One small phrase, but heavy with meaning that it meant. "Thank you for understanding me, even when I say nothing. Thank you for staying, even when I walk away. Thank you for seeing me, not just the idol, but the person." Jungkook didn't respond. He didn't need to. He gently bumped his shoulder into Taehyung's just once. Soft, warm, familiar, and Taehyung smiled. Not the kind he shows to cameras, but the one that reaches the eyes. The one that says, "I'm here again." When they finally began walking again, it wasn't because the conversation was over. It was simply because the night was moving, and they moved with it. Side by side, their steps matched without effort. A quiet rhythm formed from years of walking the same path. They didn't need to speak to understand each other. There are bonds that are spoken, and bonds that simply exist. And theirs was the kind that didn't need permission from the world to be real. Back in the dorm, the lights were dim when they entered, the warm yellow glow from the hallway mixing with the stillness of the evening. The place felt familiar, lived in, safe, filled with memories. Taehyung sat first, sinking into the couch like someone finally letting themselves rest. Jungkook followed, but instead of sitting beside him, he sat across from him, close enough to be present, far enough to give him space. After a while, Taehyung spoke again, his tone soft but clearer now. "You know, I used to think I had to be strong in the way people expect." Jungkook listened, truly listened, without interrupting. Taehyung continued, "Always smiling, always calm, always stable. Like nothing affects me." He looked down, fingers rubbing lightly at the seams of the cushion. "But it does. And I think I didn't want to disappoint anyone by showing that." There it was, the vulnerability that rarely reached the surface. Jungkook leaned forward slightly, elbows resting on his knees. "Hyung." Taehyung lifted his gaze. "You don't disappoint people by being real. You let them love you more." Taehyung blinked slowly, as if the sentence needed time to settle inside him. Love. Not admiration, not expectation love. The kind that doesn't ask you to be perfect. Taehyung had always been known for his warm presence, the comfort in his voice, the softness in his smiles, the way he seemed to wrap the room in gentleness without trying. But even gentle hearts have storms, and Jungkook, more than anyone, had seen the clouds that sometimes gathered behind Taehyung's eyes. He didn't expose them. He didn't analyze them. He didn't judge them. He just stayed, and staying is sometimes the loudest form of love.